Okay. We're going to start now. It is 6:05 for our April 21st General PTC meeting. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. First, I want to start with, as we usually start with, the approval of our minutes from our February meeting, because our March meeting was canceled. Our previous meeting was February. I did share those today, and they are on our website as well. So that's, we typically, pass them out and on the tables, and everybody can look at them before we vote. But that was my only way I could think of sharing, getting it out to as many people as possible. So I hope you all had a chance to look at those, and now that we can add them into our minutes, adopt them into our minutes. So I do need, as usual, a motion to accept the minutes from someone. Can you unmute yourself?
I move to approve the minute.
Thank you, Adele. I need a second.
Second.
Thanks, Kyle. Okay, so those minutes have been approved. They will be added to our website tomorrow. They are added on our website. Okay, so next we're gonna go to Adele for our monthly treasurer's report.
All right, so our PTC general account balance is $21,092.66. Our PTC membership account stands at $5,394. Popcorn is at $6,104.55. Eagle Fun Run sponsors, which is also the account that the Eagle Fun Run expenses are paid out of, is at $1,106.53. We do have a couple of expenses left to pay out of that account before that can be final. Eagle Fun Run student donations this year totaled $18,456.22, and that should be a final number.
Yes.
So we have a grand total cash balance of $52,153.96. Obviously, a lot of planned items for this year are going to have to be postponed due to the early closure of school. So I did a rough projection to see where we anticipate ending the year. Just to dial everybody back, we started at the beginning of the 2019-2020 school year with a cash balance of $34,646. And we were projecting to end the year at $32,271, but because of the planned expenditures that haven't been possible, I'm actually projecting us ending the year at $48,300, and that's a pretty conservative projection. I think we'll actually end a little bit higher than that.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Yeah, we're in a very good spot. We were pretty thrifty, but we still did a lot this year. So that's a great job by everyone, really. Okay, so let's talk a little bit old business. As we left school, it was Fun Run Day, obviously, and I am really happy that we were able to have that. And now looking back, what we know where we are now, it's kind of nice to have the kids have left the school year on that note, on that day, with a fun day. Although, since they will be missing their water day and all those end of the year things, I'm kind of glad it happened that way. So so that was taken care of, and we had the event. Now it's time to talk about prizes. So as most of y'all know, we usually do our prizes. We hand out the prizes that they've earned, and we have our prize parties after the event. So that was supposed to be the week after. We have been able to we're still gonna be able to pass out prizes, and those that were supposed to happen in person, like the Canes party, extra recess and Canes, if you raised, what was it, Canes is $100. Canes has given us certificates for a free kids meal to replace that, so they will still get that. The $75 level was an extra recess and a cookie party, cookie cake, cookie of some sort. That has been replaced, thankfully, we reached out to Snowbiz on Roselawn, the snowball stand at the end of Roselawn, and they have generously donated. It was right at about 100 kids who qualified for that prize level. So I have little tickets to give them for that, for a free medium snowball from them. The $30 level was a free dress. And while we're all getting free dress now, we did want to make sure that those kids did receive their prize, because there were many that only would have received that. And so just today I reached out to Khaki Laurel, who owns Borden's, and she has given us enough free single scoop ice cream from Borden's to give to all of the kids that raised $30 or above. So I will say this community has really come together, and I know we didn't reach out to these businesses to begin with, but they stepped in a big way for us, and we're very thankful that they did that. So whenever we can distribute things, they will get those. So we wanted to make sure that that was going to be something they earned it, they deserve it, and so we wanted to make sure they got that. Along the same lines, report card incentives. So y'all know that PTC usually sends out little free Sonic ice cream cones and that sort of thing based on, if you got honor roll, if you had homework club, that sort of thing. Since we did officially close out the third 9 weeks, we are able to still give them those as well. So Jennifer's working on getting the list of who reach those levels and those milestones achievements to pass out those as well to those kids. I know that there were a lot of questions about kind of along the same lines of when are we going to be able to get this, when are we going to be able to get that. So we'll just talk about that for just a second. That yearbooks, which I don't think Ms. Vidal went into the school today, and they're not even in yet, but eventually they will be. Yearbooks, spring picture proofs are in. Class
today.
Yeah, those were delivered today. Class pictures, not the proofs, but the actual pictures themselves. That's another thing that is in. So all of those things will be compiled and just waiting basically for the go ahead from the district for them to say, okay, you can start handing out, personal items even. A lot of kids still have stuff at school. Hopefully it's nothing, major that they need at home, but, the typical things that come home on the last couple of days of school, we will need to get those back to the kids. And so we definitely will be doing that. And so, like I said, just waiting from the go ahead from the district to say, yeah, go ahead, it's safe to do it, or tell us how to do it. It may be, 1 grade level a day, or we don't know, but we are on it. We know what needs to go home, and we'll make sure that they get everything, hopefully in one trip,
Right.
Same thing with library books. I mean, a lot of kids, probably every kid has library books that need to be returned. So same idea. We'll work together to make that a simple process, hopefully. Okay. I think that's it for that part for right now. Let's move on real quick to a little bit of new business. Given that they will not receive their little water party that they all look forward to so much, and there really hasn't been any closure for these kids, which might sometimes mean more to us than them, but still, we want them to be able to say goodbye to their teachers. We are actually, I'm gonna let Adele take over because she is proposing this, but we would like to propose a new budget allocation if we are allowed to do something for the kids, some type of event. Go ahead, Adele, and I'll let you finish.
Yeah, sure. Like I said in my treasurer report, we're way under budget, and we're going to end the year significantly under budget. So like Naomi said, we were tossing around ideas, and we've heard from numerous kids how disappointed they are about not getting to have the end of the year water slide. The water slide has been mentioned repeatedly by lots of children. So since we have plenty of funds available that we're not going to be able to spend on the other things that we intended to spend them on, we thought it would be a nice idea to allocate some funds for an end of the year party to occur sometime over the summer, if and when it's safe to do so. And it's a lot of unknowns right now. We don't know if it's going to be possible, but according to the bylaws, the only way we can reallocate funds is by proposing it and then voting at another meeting. So if we didn't propose this today and vote on it in our May meeting, we wouldn't have the opportunity to use PTC funds for that purpose. So I asked Naomi to put this on the agenda so that the membership can consider. And I'm asking for a generous budget of $5,000. I don't think we'll probably spend that much, but again, we have to ask for it and vote on it. So, I mean, we'd like to do water slide. Maybe we could do a fun jump. Maybe we could do face painting, something to make it fun for the kids and let them see their classmates and have closure for the year. So that's what we're asking for. If we did spend $5,000, we'd still end the year with a cash balance of at least $43,000. I think we'd probably end up closer to $45,000, which is still a significantly better cash position than we expected to end the year with, and that would allow us plenty of funds available for a major project next year if the incoming board has something that they'd like to accomplish.
Yeah, Laura,
Thank
you
you.
have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was wondering if there were other things maybe we should consider on the end of your budget. Maybe could we do a campus cleanup? I was thinking about there's a cute little patio that was an Eagle Scout project with the white picket fence around, and that could maybe use some cleaning up, especially with the new addition. That'll look so good in the fall. Could we maybe use some funds to do a big campus cleanup later this spring once it's allowed, or this summer? Or are there any resources for some of our at-risk kids, like additional books maybe, or just some ideas? I was wondering if y'all had thought about that kind of stuff too.
So we do still have funds available for school beautification. We had 1,100 budgeted, and off the top of my head, I think we only spent around 100. So we still have about $1,000 that's in the budget that if we are able to get on campus, that's available to spend for whatever project could be accomplished. I know that Kyle had worked on a project list for when UL was supposed to be on campus at the end of March, but of course that didn't happen. So if it does become safe to return to campus, those funds would absolutely be available for that purpose. As far as student resources, I don't believe there's been any discussion to that end, but if anybody has ideas, I don't see why that couldn't be considered.
Yeah, so we don't need to, like she said, we have plenty of beautification funds left, so that doesn't require any type of reallocation or anything like that. So it's there. So, you know, if we can, and I believe our fiscal year ends June 30th. So if we can by the end of June, that money is available. If not, it would have to come from next year's budget.
Okay, so I mean, is $1,000 enough to make our campus look good?
I mean, the budgeted amount was based on prior years, and we haven't spent that much in recent years. So, I mean, if somebody has a specific project that they'd want to propose.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we have a surplus this year, maybe it's the year to really like get some mulch, do some more landscaping. To me, it's not always a great first impression, and I guess being from other states and seeing other schools, I love Woodville, but and I think the new building is going to look so wonderful. And what can we do on the office side? You know, by the cafeteria and kind of where that washed out mulch is by all of the portable buildings. There's mold on the door where the speech therapy room, the building looks terrible and the door looks bad. So I was just wondering, since if we do have, you know, 15,000 more than we normally do, could we maybe brainstorm to make it just look awesome when we open in August with the new addition?
That would be
Maybe
a good thing for next board to consider for the budget. Yeah.
Maybe what we can do, I know they're going to be taking out the portable buildings once the new wing is finished. That's all part of the project of the new wing. So I know that those will probably be out by June, if not sooner. And then we could look at we won't have those problems of some of them that you just mentioned, Laura, about on the portable buildings, the mold and all of that, the mildew. But we could possibly plan something where all those empty classrooms will be, or all the grass from the classrooms. And think of something that maybe we could, do a project for that. I just know that the buildings will be taken out in May or June, hopefully. So just want to let y'all know that.
So what will go? I like where you're going with that. Like if they're taken out, what is it gonna
Well,
look?
I know for one thing, all elementary schools were allocated funds to put a covered pavilion for PE and other times inclement weather and things. And so that's going to come after the addition is finished. So we would need to wait and have that finished first, and then we're going to have more playground.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely keep that in mind. Maybe, like you said, just even some mulch, if we can purchase that in June, and maybe it only takes a couple of people. We don't need 50 people there. We don't usually have 50 people there on a beautification day anyway. So yeah, I think it's quite possible that sometime in June we could have that purchased, and just a little bit of spruce up, like you said.
I agree. I love the idea. I think that would be great.
Okay, we can definitely talk about that. So back to Adele's proposal is we are going to, at our next meeting in May, we'll need to vote on that allocation. So we'll vote on, like she said, 5,000, which is it's a lot more than we probably would spend, but we have it, and we'd rather, request more of the allocation and not necessarily need quite as much, but we could do a really nice thing for the kids, a nice little party. Okay, so moving on, it's time.
So,
Yep.
Naomi, I'm sorry. So do you need to allocate more than 1,000 for the spruce up in case it happens to be more than that? Do we need to do that tonight?
Well,
no?
we could, but I don't know that it would require more than $1,000. I mean,
Okay. I just want to make sure,
I mean, as I'm thinking about it, when you're talking about moving these buildings out, I don't know what that's going to look like. And yeah, that might sod or seed or something. Is that something that they're going to come back and, make that look nice when they move those buildings out? Or is that something that Woodvale's responsible for?
That's the question I don't know the answer to. So I can try to find out. I don't know if the school board will be putting sod down and things like that, because underneath those buildings, of course, it's just mud,
Right.
from the buildings being there for so long. So I'll reach out to
If we have
Mr.
to
Ian Brown to find out.
If we have to put it on the agenda now, can we better play it safe than sorry and just get it on there, even if we end up voting it down next month?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Anybody have a proposed figure, an amount to request?
I mean, if we're talking having to sod that whole area, I can tell you from my professional experience, I don't think we have enough money to do
No,
that.
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, seed, I don't think is that expensive. I think we could spend a few $100s on seed, and hopefully it'll grow by August, September. I don't know. I'm not a lawn expert, but
$15,000. So I guess what's the advantage of doing adding 15,000 to next year when we can spend it now?
well, there has been some discussion of kind of making that pavilion Miss Vidas was talking about a little bit nicer. Possibly looking into partially walling off some of the sides and maybe making some type of portable stage. So there's definitely some things we could do that would cost a lot more than what we typically have to spend. And so that would be definitely something that the next board would look into this summer and plan on in their budget. And Kyle's already talked about working on getting bids for what that would look like. So there's a little bit of thought or talk is what I guess we should say, is kind of we've thrown out some ideas of how to spend that money that, yeah, we want to spend it. We need to spend it. But I mean, yeah, we can obviously spend some of it towards beautification as well. It's not all going to go to one thing. I don't think it needs to.
Okay.
So maybe we say another 1,000, and that would give us 2,000 in beautification. What do y'all think?
That's the exact number I was going to suggest.
Okay.
And then bigger projects could be looked at over the summer with firm pricing procured so that those projects could be budgeted by next year's board for
Right.
next year's budget.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And we'll know more what it's gonna look like when the portables are gone and, okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hopefully when LPSS sees how awful it looks when those buildings are removed, they'll be like, oh my goodness, we need to spend some money here.
Exactly. But that's a wonderful question, and I'm gonna reach out tomorrow to try to get an answer on that.
Okay. So at our next meeting, we will vote on an allocation of $5,000 for end of the school year party and $1,000 towards beautification.
Okay.
Everybody good on that? Okay.
Mhm.
We would have had our election tonight, but since our March meeting was canceled, we're just kind of backing things up. So we will announce the nominees for secretary. We have 2 that have been nominated and accepted. So that is Ms. Jennifer Hargrave and Laura Lee. So they will be the 2 running for secretary. And then we also have 2 that have been nominated and accepted the nomination for treasurer, and that is Keegan McLean and Mary Slyman. Congratulations, all 4 of you. We
Yes.
do not have anyone who has been nominated and accepted the position of president. So after tonight's meeting, I will send out a Google form. We will open up nominations again for another week and see where that takes us. I guess the stipulation on president is that you have to have served as a committee chair in the past. So sometimes that limits us, but I think we can all maybe try and put on our thinking caps and come up with some people who would be willing to jump into this role, who have met that qualification. So anyway, the presidential nominations will reopen after this meeting for a week, and then we will vote in May. Look, I'm so confused on what month it is. The May meeting is going to be May 19th. It's the standard 3rd Tuesday of the month, just like we normally do. We don't know what that's going to look like yet because we don't know if we can meet in person. I would love to be able to meet in person if it's maybe in the cafeteria with 6 feet apart. I don't know what they're going to allow at that point. But we're going to do the best that we can with what we're given. And if we have to meet via Zoom like this again, we will. We will hear from all of the nominees just like we normally do. If they can't be on live, maybe they submit a video and we play that video, or hopefully they're on live with us and we can hear their little, speech that we all like to give and express why we think we should be voted for. And then I'm not real sure. We're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna vote. There's a couple of different ideas that I have. I don't know. Maybe we go old school and mail it in. Maybe we do a Google form again. Maybe we embrace the technology that we are blessed with right now in this time. But we'll make it happen, and it'll be on May 19th. There was something else I wanted to say about that. Okay, I don't know, the thought lost. I guess Ms. Vidas will move now to the other questions that were submitted for administration. Do you want to go, you want me to ask those questions and you can answer them? Oh wait, we can't hear you, hold on. Can you unmute yourself? Hang on.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Okay.
can now.
Yes, if you could read the question, because I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, sure. So one of the questions was, will parents receive a refund for any field trips that were not taken but paid for?
Absolutely. In fact, when I was at school today, the bus company, I can't think of their name right now, Hotard, we had a check that we received from them today in the mail. So I just told Ms. Barnes that, and she's going to go to school tomorrow and start work. She was waiting for some of those checks to come in the mail from the bus companies and some of the places that possibly they had already paid for too, that they were going. So there is a process coming from central office for all schools to be working on those issues for field trips, reimbursements. But yes, every single thing that the parents have paid for will be reimbursed. Hopefully by the next month, in the next month or so, I would say, because it is a process.
Yeah. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the packets that are going to be going home starting this Friday? What
Yes.
they look like, what it is, who needs to pick it up, and that sort of thing.
Okay. The district is printing these packets for only English language arts and math. So the other subjects are not being printed, but those packets are printed for students who did not have access to internet. And they're going to be picked up in stages in different days, different grade levels. And there is also a link to the paper packet that's been put on the e-learning site. And parents are welcome to print that on their own. But I think what I have decided is once we get the packets in, which they have not been delivered to school yet, but as soon as we get them in, I will see how many more extras that were not included in those numbers that the district sent us and print them at school for parents who would like to pick them up also, because I just feel like that's only fair to try to do that.
Okay.
So again, parents can click on the link, print it on their own, or not print it at all and just have the child work from the computer. Or we're going to print some extras at school for parents to come pick up. And I'd say we probably would have those ready by next week, because again, we haven't even received them from the district yet.
Okay. Is the first pickup, did I read it correctly, for kindergarten and first grade this Friday?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's 2 grade levels a day, I think, is what I briefly remember seeing. Okay. Okay. AR prizes. Can you talk about AR prizes and including million word readers? Did you have any information on that?
I don't have information on the million word reader prizes. That's the district level prizes. And again, I know the district is working on that also to try to, give those students who did earn those prizes with those levels, to give them their rewards. And we're going to also do the same thing at school for AR students who met those goals. And again, we don't know what those prizes will look like just yet. I really plan to try to meet with Ms. Weinstein earlier, but with me getting sick, I didn't get to, but I'm back in gear this week. So I'll be speaking to her tomorrow also about what we're going to work on for AR prizes from the school level.
Okay.
So again, those 2 things, information will still be coming.
Yeah.
But it will happen.
I know a lot of these questions, we don't know yet. Somebody's working on it at some different level, and then it's going to get passed down, and eventually we'll all know.
Correct.
Any information about 4th graders, when they could expect to see information from their 5th grade school?
I'm not certain, to be honest, on that question. Any parents on our meeting right now that has older students, I don't know when the other school reaches out to parents. I'm not certain of that, because usually on our end, all we usually do is a tour one day with the 4th graders when we go and tour the school. And that's not usually until the end of May, middle of May. But honestly, I don't know when the middle school reaches out to parents. So if anybody knows the answer on that, feel free to join in.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have the answer to that either. In fact, I didn't even think of that question when I got that email. I was like, oh, I probably should have thought of that question for myself.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll try to get answers to some of those questions this week. I just didn't have time to get them all done today. I was trying to get things done for LPSS that needed to get done for staffing and other issues. So I promise to work on that this week.
Okay. That, I think, wraps up all the questions that were turned into PTC to ask of you, unless anyone who is here on the call has something they would like to ask. Let me check the chat real quick. Laura, are you thinking distribution of prizes will be before we start school in August? Oh, I answered, yeah.
Yes.
I think it'll be before May 28th, which was our original end date of school. I would think so.
It definitely will be before May 28th. Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Hey, Naomi and Miss Doss, it's Corey and Heather.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, we have 4th graders going to 5th grade. Nicolene's counselor already reached out to us last week for her scheduling for 6th grade, but we just never got anything for incoming 5th graders. And my other question was, since there is no LEAP, how are they going to do French? How do they know what kids will be able to do French and not?
Well, if it's done at the middle school level, like we used to do for fourth graders at Woodvale, we use a few things for data pieces. Of course, the LEAP scores were one piece, but we also used grades from the year before and previous years, teacher recommendation. It's a few different things. So even without the scores, I'm sure they can find a way to, qualify which students attend French or not, or take French.
Does that answer your question, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, we would still need to know, I guess, when we would receive something from LJ Alamo about, choosing an elective and things like that, since the older grades are already getting feedback from the counselor over there.
Okay, I'll reach out to Mr. Luquette tomorrow. I'll put a note to do that, and then they can be in contact with fourth grade parents, hopefully soon. I'll see what he says.
Okay, thank you so much.
That'll work.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think that is all that we have on our end, guys, unless there's something else. Any board members, can you say anything that see anything I missed? No, we're good. Okay, I hope
Well,
that this recorded well.
I hope so too, and I hope that everybody enjoyed being in the meeting. I know I did. It's nice to see familiar faces.
I know it's still weird meeting like this, but at least we get to see each other and feel some movement, some productive, energy, getting some things accomplished and wrapping up the year however we need to in a new way. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. It's 6:36, and so